Welcome, everybody. We'll get started here in just a second. We're letting everybody in. Got a special guest today. Yay. And while everybody's coming in, I didn't put this in the slides, but Fast Cap is almost filled up for January. So if you wanted to get in Fast Cap, which I think everybody should take it, like I even want to take it, but I don't want to take a spot. So I think I'm gonna come in the back way through the mentor program or something. I just want to see it. But the results are fantastic. 6 appointments. This is if they did the minimum. 6 appointments set and 3.9 signed. So I think that's people signed to, an agreement. But so I think that's super cool. And then if people didn't even do everything, the minimum, just the minimums, the average was 4 appointments set and two signed. So still great numbers. So if you're like, oh, I'd love to take it, but I'm just not that consistent. It's a good way to gamify everything. And you have, like a group that you're with and they show the numbers. And so, yeah. Has anybody here taken it?
I signed up for it, took like the very first one. I went to it, but I was on the mentor part of it. It's like, it's pretty neat. And I have 2 of my agents going through it. So it's
Nice.
awesome.
Awesome. Janie, did you or have somebody? You're muted. I think you said no, I didn't.
Right. So no, you're a good lip reader. No, I didn't.
I am a good lip reader. Okay, perfect. All right, well, let's jump into it here. Thanks everybody for coming. Happy Monday morning. I can't believe it that it's almost Christmas. I decorated for Christmas over the weekend. And I have to tell you, I wanted to like the end of October. So for those of you that hate on people like that, it's me. I've been watching Christmas movies since September. So anyway, which my family loves because then I'm all like, happy during the day and then I watch a Christmas movie and I'm all sad at night. I'm like, oh my gosh, I just wish, we had a lamb to save and put up our own tree in our farm and all that stuff. So yeah, real neat stuff you didn't need to know about me. All right, let's jump into it here really fast and because I'm excited for our day. All right. Oops, let me make this bigger. There we go. All right, welcome to our Monday Momentum Call. We have it every single Monday. So if you guys can make it, we would love it. And sometimes we have training. Sometimes we just sort of do like a Q&A. Janie and I generally run it together, or one of us will run it. And then sometimes we have a guest speaker from our organization. So first of all, I want to welcome our new members. We've got Mallory in Georgia, sponsored by Ashley. Caitlin in Tennessee, sponsored by Melissa. Maha, I might be saying that wrong. I apologize if I am. Maha, by Chris in Colorado. And Leah in Maryland by Jamie. And then Paul in Tennessee under William. So congratulations to those of you that brought these agents to our organization, and welcome to you agents. We're excited to have you. So as we do every week, what's happening, just so you know, after this training at noon, well, it's a little bit after noon Eastern, we have the attraction training. That's from Game Changers. That's the organization we're all a part of. Erin is running those calls Monday at noon Eastern. Tuesday, we have our production mastermind. I'm running it this Tuesday and I'm doing the market update. That's where we go over keeping current matters. So if you don't have keeping current matters, this is great because we watch it and then I give you all the slides and we talk about it a little bit. And then Friday, the big agent meeting, of course. And just a reminder that we do send out a newsletter every week with all the links. So if you don't get it, check your spam. It's probably in there, but it's called The Goods. So you could search The Goods. And then here's some featured classes coming up. This week, they do have a business planning class on Thursday. That's the EXP Masterclass. And this one is being taught by Brian Ellington. So that's really cool. This one on Thursday. So at EXPCon, Brandon Brittingham, who I did not know, I cannot remember where he's from. Janie or Melissa, do you guys remember where he's from? He was the guy that had all like the sparkle on. Yeah, shoot. Okay. Anyway, he sells like I think
I think he's in Virginia Beach. Like, isn't he near you, Joe?
I haven't heard of him.
okay, I don't know where he is. But anyway, he sells a ton of homes and he has all these like divisions off of his real estate. And one of them is investing. And so he did a EXPCon session that not everybody could get in. So they're doing it again. So it's Thursday at noon Eastern. So check Workplace for that or your EXP calendar and you'll get the link for that. Definitely, if you have any interest in that, that would be great to attend. All right. Now I get to introduce our speaker. I love this picture of you, by the way, Melissa. So Melissa's going to talk today about how to get more listings. Melissa has a team in Memphis called Your Key to Memphis. She averages selling a home 1 every 2 days. And Melissa, this isn't like a person where the team sells and Melissa doesn't. Melissa sells a lot of homes herself and goes on appointments with her team members. She's been a full-time realtor since '87, consistently a top producer, has a really good reputation in her market. And if you know Melissa, you know why. She has a great work ethic, great negotiator, and definitely an excellent marketer. And she's always delivering great results for her clients and using creative ways to get more. So, Melissa, I will turn it over to you and teach us how to get more listings.
Okay, thank you. Let me get into my slides. Don't we all want more listings?
Yes.
All right. Okay, can we see it? Okay.
Yep.
Okay, good. All right, so like Stacy said, I've been selling, it'll be 38 years in February, which is crazy. So my passion the past 15 years have really been focusing on listings. I love that part of the journey. So, doing all that, I've navigated through various market conditions, as we all know, all the changes that have happened through the years for different things, but just even flew different parts of the country to learn from different people that I knew did listings at a super high level just to implement them into my business. So just talking about strategies, tactics, and overcoming barriers for us to be more successful. So current challenges, as we all know, are the lack of leads. I'd love to tell you that this is an easy game. I could just punch a button and you get a bunch of listings. That would be great. But it's really just a long-term vision. So if you think of it as a long-term business, it's just better, for you as well. So I know we have lack of leads, competition, and inconsistent marketing. So I want to talk about any of those. So does anybody have any of those 3 things in particular that they're struggling with? Just put it in the chat. I'd love to see, and we can address some of that as well. Be glad to go into super specifics when I go through it too. All right, so my whole thing, honestly, I'm not a big lead purchaser, so it's like I've never done that hardly at all. But like 85% of my business comes from past clients and referrals. So I've just done a really good job with building relationships. And then when Stacy and I were at EXPCon and Janie as well, anybody else, the main thing they were talking about were relationships. And I think we've kind of gotten away from that because we've let system and technology and all this stuff kind of be the thing for us, but really, really, really it needs to go back to relationships. So just regularly connecting with past clients, you can do holiday cards. We're having a pie day. I know that sounds old. That's not a new thing, but we do it the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. And just here's the thing with that is what I've implemented. And now's a great time if you haven't planned as well as your 2025, what you want your year to look like. So plan it all out. So we meet this week actually with my admin and plan out every event that we're going to do, all of the marketing, just because when you get busy, things fall to the wayside. So just continue, to build on that too. So we have the pie day on Tuesday. And every time I do that, it's exhausting, but it's people, and I don't understand why they come to buy a Costco pie from me or come get a Costco pie from me when they could go buy one themselves. But it's a great way to connect, and people just want to reciprocate. So anything that you can do to make a connection with people, they really and truly just want to give back. So we have a great turnout. We usually have about 250 to 300 pies of people that come. And then they come and they just connect and they sit around. You have, coffee and cookies, and they just kind of hang out for a bit. But what makes them think about, oh, well, my neighbor is thinking about doing, or this person is thinking about that. So just a great way for you to capitalize on that and put people in your database as well. So just building connections with that. And then every time every after Tuesday for the pie day, I sit there and write down all the notes and even write thank you notes for coming. So I'm like, thank you for coming. So sorry about this, or so good to hear about this, and different things about it, and make a note about it. And anything that they said, I want to be able to follow up on it. When it was just my admin, Christina, and she's been with me since 07. I've had one for a lot longer than that, but she's been with me for that long. We would kind of tag team. So we'd put the notes in our CRM to come back around and go, well, Stacy said this, or she's having surgery here. And then we could just call them, or if they called in, we both could see the notes of what the conversation had been to follow up. And people just want to know that you care about them. So just changing your mindset to prioritize their needs as opposed to just closing a sale, just not being transactional. And I think that's what I've done really well, is that I really do care about them. I bring them into the fold. I didn't care if they were selling an $800,000 house. My market is like 275 is the average price. So that's pretty high end. So I didn't care if they were selling an $800,000 house or if they were doing a $40,000 house. I just wanted to make sure they were taken care of. I've just never been that kind of person. I know we make more money, obviously, but I just wanted to service their needs. So I think they knew that as well, to come back to us time and time again. So that was one of the main things that I've done that's done really well. So a couple other things: be the local expert. And here's another thing I know as well, just being on social media. I know it's exhausting, and I don't mean to be on it, like to stay on it and go down some rabbit hole, but it's like I do like content batching. Right now I'm just growing my team, so in a different place than, really looking for more listings, but I get them in the long run because of it. But people just know that you're being consistent. So if agents on my team right now, blocking what they're going to do for next year as far as social media, so it can go out consistently. When people know that you do what you do consistently, that's when you start getting, business as well. If you're just kind of one and done, and social media is hard to keep up on it. But if you content block and go, okay, I'm going to do these maybe 3 times a week, this is what it's going to look like for a month, you'll be surprised at the activity that you get from that. So be the local expert about that. Stacy was just talking about Tuesdays. Tomorrow's a great idea to get on and get the information from that and republish it. Keeping Current Matters has the slides, but put it in your own words. Do something like that. I actually do a market report now. State of the market is what I call it. So once a month, I invite all my clients to State of the Market, and it really and truly is just going over what the market is. It's by Zoom, and then I can send it out by email. But that's one great way you can really just do Keeping Current Matters, but doing your own strategy in your own language and look at your local market. So you can do a big view and then a lower view or local view of your area and invite people. But the thing, again, just do it consistently. So it's like if I do it every third Thursday of the month at noon, that's what you get. And it's not about me trying to buy, help you buy or sell or try to get you to do anything. It's just providing information, but I call it State of the Market. And again, we have a system for that, so you can follow up and do it and implement it into your business. So that's kind of helped me be the local expert as well. Again, we all know offer, home valuation reports. Fellow is a great system for that, FELLO. They were at EXPCon, but I've used them probably for a year and a half, and they kind of just nurture your database. You have QR codes that can go in there. Now it's a cost. Right now I'm paying about $700 a month for that. So it could be, costly, but you could look into that and see what the cost is, or just do it yourself. So it sends out every other month just an update on what their market is. People always want to know what their home is worth without you trying to sell them something, because it's their biggest investment. So it's a great way, to be the expert. And then secondly, tap into referrals after closing. We do as well. We do a diamond club. So it's like I give them this thing saying, we want you to be part of our diamond club. So if you refer us business, you get these extra perks, whatever that may look like for you. But I call them my diamond club members and they get different things for that. And most people want to be on that list for you. So just a different way to add them to get the business. So that's our referral program. And as soon as they send a referral, so like I send them a thank you note with a Starbucks card. Personally, I don't go to Starbucks unless somebody gives me a card, but it's like they just know that you appreciate them. Even if the business doesn't work out, it wasn't the point. The point was that they thought of me. So it's like, even if they found somebody else or it wasn't the time, it didn't matter. I didn't want to get in the semantics of it. I just wanted to thank them for that. But on the same token, EXP, in my opinion, is great for referrals from agent to agent across the country. That's probably one surprise to me when I moved over from the company I was with, is the referrals that I've gotten from EXP. So, but what I do as well with that is to have a system to let that agent know where we are in the process with the referral that they gave us. I always hated to give somebody a referral and then you have no idea where it is. So it's like, you don't really want to spend your time calling and bothering them, but sometimes that's what you have to do just to get out the information. So just think about things like that you can, continue the relationship with that agent too. And if anything, there's an agent in Knoxville with EXP, and anytime anybody in West Tennessee needs somebody, she's tagged me. And I was like, I don't even know her. So it's like, but just thinking about that you can do for other people, there's so many things. My point with that is that's free. So it's like, when I'm trying to do now that she's tagging me so much, I'm doing the same thing for her in Knoxville. So it's like, she's tagging me constantly. So if I see somebody that's looking for somebody in her neck of the woods, I'm going to send it to her too. But that's just something, that's free and something you can do intentional. Of course, for SOBA owners and expireds, of course, you got the queen of that, Janie, on here for expires to teach you all about that. But, again, it's a system, and all of these things are a long-term thing. None of this is just one or done. Like I said, I'd love to push an easy button for you, but after all these years, it's just not. So you just have to think of it a long-term business, and you have to think of it as a business. So you'll treat it that way and start implementing the same things too. Well, and the number one thing that I want to say that we've done all year long, seeing that the changes that were going to happen in August with us in the buyer's representative is open houses. They are the bomb right now. So it's like, so we really started implementing them, and I've gone through all of that. It's like, I wouldn't even do open houses before, but heck, in 2009, I had a listing for a year sometimes. So it's like, it's just a different environment. So you pivot to what works. But right now, when I'm looking for a car, if I'm looking for a car, I'm going to go to the car lot when nobody's there. It's like, I want to find what I want. I want to do all the things, nobody's talking to me, and I can just kind of window shop and not be bothered. Well, it's the same thing, in my opinion, with the buyer, since they have to sign something now. They can come into our open houses without being committed and see what they want to see. I have one agent that just joined me actually in April. She sold 5 houses so far. And like Stacy said, 49% of the people had sold 0 to 1 houses in her last network, the call that she had, which is crazy. So she's brand new on my team, has sold 5 houses, and 3 of them have been from open houses. So it's like she sold, picked somebody up just from the open houses, just from this. So, but this is not just run and put a sign in the yard and pray that it works either. We have a strategy behind it, and I'm happy to share it in more detail. Just send me a message and I'll give it to you as well. But we start on Monday. Like today, it's like, here's all the houses that we have available for the weekend. So I don't care if you're a new agent, existing agent, no business agent, whatever it is, it's just a great way to pick somebody up. So we start today on where we want it to be. So if it's a brand new listing, of course, that's the best. That's what we're always after for the weekend. But some of them are in a great location, have new construction. So it's like, there's additional houses besides this one going up that people stop at. So, or just pick a street, that has a lot of drive by. Now, if you don't have a listing, reach out to other agents. When the company I was at before my team was the size that it is now, it's like I'd have other agents come and ask me if they could do an open house. And I'm like, all day long. So it's like we get worried about asking somebody, but I'm telling you, people are willing for you to have the house open. So you could do something and do 2 in a day and pick the same location and the same price point. So if you know somebody's looking 4 to 500,000, pick another one, that's down the street. Do 1 to 3 and do 330 to 530. Just think strategically on how you're doing them as well. So Red X, there's a lot of different companies that you can get the phone numbers for. So we call around the area and invite them to the open house. You can door knock. There's just some things we can do, to get some business right now. And then go back and your leads, your team leads, whatever you have in the database, and tagged and call them as well and invite them to the open house. For the strategy for a listing for the seller, we're trying to get a full market response. We don't list till Wednesday or Thursday, even though we know it's coming, just because we want to have a full market response on the weekend for the open houses to kind of make it like 2020. So it's like if we could, if the neighbor's in and an agent's in with their person, they don't know it's the neighbor and we don't even care. So we just want them to look like there's competition, on the listing for them. So that's kind of our strategy for a new listing. But again, we get a lot of people that are coming in, but we started early, get the signs in place, just some things that we're doing to implement that to get to great open houses. Mike, another agent on my team today, he told me he has a contract on one from an open house. It's an agent that brought their buyer, but they hadn't seen the house before. So all the things that are really working for open houses right now. So on, the day of the open house, and here's my thing about open houses, you're taking time away from your family. So it's like, so make it worthwhile, or it's your weekend, whatever it may be, but don't just get there and run up, sweating to death, throwing the sign in the yard, but also get there early and make a generic video and part of a unique part of the house. Say it's got a great outdoor fireplace. It's a great kitchen. You can find something that's unique about it to make that person remember that came. And so as you're gathering the information when they come in, and I'm telling you, I'd still have a piece of paper, and you can even have the paper and the pen as they're coming in and write it for them, give it to them. I think that's better than having like a QR code, because people may not, finish that out when they're scanning it for this situation. But get the information and send everyone this generic video, thanking them for coming to the open house, but you've made it ahead of time. So then you can send it, after the open house is over, or if you made a huge connection or you have the time, you can stand in the same location and just say, thanks so much, Jamie, for coming to the open house today. We had a great conversation. I'll connect you with my lender, whatever the conversation may be. But I'm just telling you, video is huge because that makes them remember you. And then on Monday, these are the people that you should be doubling down on, to follow up with, to put them into your database. Oh my goodness, sorry. And then, so social media is so big, just regularly posting content like we talked about in the neighborhood, highlighting clients, and then have client success stories to build, your online presence. All of that is huge, and it's free. Then you could get into target ads, but that's another day for that. Create videos, explain why now is a great time to sell. What I've also done in my video marketing is when somebody's under contract, I have like 7 videos telling them what to expect. So just think about different ways that you can do your video marketing. And it's just great customer service for them to understand how the process works. Always sharing tips. We make social media super hard. Just go back through your phone for the past 30 days and think about the questions people have asked you. So what has somebody asked you in the process, and make a video about it? So when should I expect for the home inspection to come back? How much time? Or what about the appraisal? All those things are tips that you can share, just to give you some credibility for that as well. I still believe in snail mail, and I think now when times are slower, it's the best time to do it because people don't get it first off, and people stop. If they were doing it, they've stopped. So just all the reasons that we kind of double down during this time to have some kind of direct mail campaign to send information out. And then the best thing they always did was just sold. I mean, I know that's old school, but it's like they see your evidence of success, or once a month send a postcard out. And that's what I call it, my evidence of success. You could have a testimonial, of course, and all the houses that you sold. For Pete's sakes, you could do it again next month. Use another picture of the same house. People aren't going, oh my goodness, you sent me the same house, because you've got such a period of time to look at it and they throw it away. We all know that. but you could, don't make this harder than what it has to be. In time block, that's super important. Set aside 1 to 2 hours each day for prospecting. Just think about all the people that you can reach out to and ask them. We had a great Leo when we were there, which I thought was really, really good. Talked about the people that, the debt right now is so big with credit card debt. And to go back to people that you've sold houses to 2 to 3 years ago and send them a market report and say, we've got buyers in this area. Do you know of anyone? So I thought that was huge because we usually go back 7 to 10. That's just, it's the statistics. So that's what we go back to. But he's saying make it a super shorter period of time. And again, don't make it harder than what it is. I mean, even if you're brand new in the business and you don't have anybody, go to a subdivision that you want to work and just reach out to them and say, I've got, somebody, and here's a market report if you've got somebody that's interested as well. But all these things don't work unless you're leveraging, your CRM. We get asked all the time which one. It doesn't matter, just one that you use. So just one that you're putting information in to keep up with, because the busier you get, the harder that this becomes. And this just helps you, to have a system. And then at some point, as you get busy, you'll outsource those tasks as well, which Stacey's great about talking about leverage about that. Again, objections, that could be facing. Why should I list with you? Just have your unique selling proposition, whatever that may be. And this may be a great time right now to really think of what that is. What sets you apart? What makes you different from everybody else? If you want to ask a different amount of money, other agents saying they're doing it for less. We have a company here, I think it's called One List or something. They're listing for like 1%. Of course, those agents aren't staying long because they're realizing, that they can't afford to do it. But you've got to be able to compare yourself between that one list and you. What are you going to do differently between that person? And write all the things down. And sometimes we think they may be silly, but people don't know that we do what we do. So just make sure that you let them know about that as well. So the market isn't right, provide data and statistics. Right now is a great time, in my opinion, for lots of different reasons, but you can, think about, after keeping current matters, reasons why they should list, what's their benefit for them, the timing about all that as well, and average days on the market. And when we are listed, I do this over and over again for them. I send them a market report. I do an absorption rate. I do the showing report, just keeping them updated, when you do get the listing. So just a little piece of information about that. Again, CRM is huge. Marketing platform, Canva. Yay. But in 2 weeks, we're starting to get to Canva Pro. So excited that, we're getting that as well. And email campaigns, those are huge. I mean, if you can get back into that again, KB Core has, ability, if that's what your system is, to use email campaigns. But again, in my opinion, is to do it and just stick to it, whatever it may be. So like, I know it's a lot of information that we've kind of gone over, but pick one thing and just really get good about it. Look at it for 90 days, and implement it into your business, and then pick another one. So I may have missed questions about that. A lot of information. I'll probably talk super fast. So let me check the chat. Anything specific?
This is awesome. But if you guys have questions, you can raise your hand too, or whatever, while we have Melissa on. But one of the things in the beginning you said, honestly, any of the three that you mentioned, probably all of us would love more information on. But, you mentioned you don't pay for leads, and relationships is a big piece of your business. So if someone else also is not wanting to pay for leads or into leads, what would you suggest to help them kind of grow their business?
So it's just, think about all the people that already know, like, and trust you. So it's like, I was always involved in my kids' PTA and just gather their information. I didn't try to sell them, but it was like they knew that I was there gathering business. I was there to support whatever I was supporting, but then I put them into my database and started sending them emails. So then they're like, oh my goodness, you sell real estate. And then the conversations just evolve. So that, and then having client appreciation events. So it's like the past people that you've sold houses to, do pop buys. You've just got to do things to keep top of mind, because you know that they know about 4 other realtors, and 87% of the people would use the realtor that they, bought with, but they just never hear from them again. I also did what I called orphan buyers. So it's like when you, bought one of my listings and it was another agent with the buyer, I would go through the process of seeing if they would really stay and follow up with them. I wouldn't try to get somebody that was like an agent in the business or try to make somebody mad. But if I knew just based on the transaction, they probably weren't going to keep up with their buyer, I gathered them into my sphere. And I've sold lots of houses that way too, but I tagged them orphan buyers. So I treated them the same as my clients, but it's like I just provided them information. But then 7 years later, they can't even remember who sold their house, but they remember me because I kept sending them information. But orphan buyers, it's been a good, resource for me as well. Like I said, I've never made anybody mad from it because that was not my intent. But you just know some agents may not make it in the business or didn't do well with the follow-up. So that was one thing, that that worked out very well.
Yeah, I love that. And honestly, like your open house strategy too, you talked about lots of different ways that I think sometimes I was listening to a podcast this weekend, and they were mentioning that a lot of us, when we put into place a strategy, a system, a checklist, whatever, we like check the box on it. Like, yep, open house, yep, had a sign-in sheet, yep, walked around the neighborhood, maybe, instead of really like putting forth this big effort into it, like it is a marketing channel. And so that was really interesting because I'm the same way. A lot of times I'm like, oh, I have a system on it, boop, 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 all these things were done, but then I'm not showing up a certain way or really capitalizing on that 2 hours I would have at this house. It's like, ugh, I got to do an open on a Saturday, sometimes. So I think that's really important to mention because, you mentioned a lot of things that maybe we know about, maybe we don't, but to really put effort and thought and have a system attached to it, not just maybe, yep, I do that. Yep, I do that.
Yeah, open houses for sure would be the thing I would do right now. Above anything else would be open houses to implement. And to really, like I said, you don't even have to have it. Go to other agents, even if you don't have a house right now. But it's like that's the way we've been very successful, this year to gathering, additional business as you're building it. But it's like that's a now business, especially after the election. It's been funny. It's like it's really picked up, which it typically does. And the year after election is always huge. So I would really get the system down for an open house, but we start on Monday. It's like it's not there, we start
Yeah.
making the phone calls on Monday and going through the database, call the agents around the neighborhood of where you're working and invite them to come, especially if this is your listing. You may not, if it's not your listing per se, because you're not for that, but for the market response that I'm looking for on my listing, we do. But it's like, circle prospect around the neighborhood. If you don't, or can't pay for Red X or some system that gives you the information, then door knock and just invite them to come. Make a flyer and tell them, I'd love for you to come. Sometimes you can do an open house prior to the open house, for the neighbors. You could do an hour earlier just to meet them and invite them to have their own private little tour to come. And that gives you one-on-one time with them. Anything that you're doing for the neighbors, they're going to see that you're doing it. They're like, oh my goodness, I'm sorry, y'all. Nobody's door knocking on anybody's house right now or making phone calls. Even if you did that one thing, I'd be impressed if that was, my neighbor's house that was listed. I'm like, oh my goodness, I want to talk to them because they're really doing a lot of work to get this house listed, so or get
Yeah.
it sold. But that's open houses would be the key right now to really to implement your business hugely for 2025 and watch it grow. If you did that strategy, even if you did it, 3 times a month, if you were just super focused on that, your business would be huge.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you're going to be doing business planning for your team. And so that's a little different than, sometimes individual agents. But if you were having to create a business plan, like starting over, but knowing what you know now, what would be a few things you'd for sure have on your business plan for 2025? So open houses being one of them for sure. What would be like a couple more? Like these are the couple things that I would double down on, focus on, do for 2025.
client appreciation, I got caught up in thinking it was the number, but it's like who came, but it's really just in the invite. And what they did, I'm not a salesperson. I am not, do you want to buy or sell? It's like I've never ever done that. So it's like it was just implementing that once a quarter. So then you go 6 weeks earlier to be able to call them, send a postcard, invite them, send them a text, all the things. So you're inviting them to, bring your dog in the park to have pictures, bring your kids to have pictures for Santa, all the different things that you can do. But like that way, people just really want to reciprocate. But that's an easy way for you to stay in touch with your client and not feel salesy at all. So that I'd have done that a lot sooner, than now as well. And then have like a diamond club is what I call anybody that refers business to me. We use Client Giant, it's like $99. When somebody sends you a referral immediately and they get 4 gifts a year, which is amazing. That's kind of a no-brainer when you get that busy. I didn't do that before because of the money. So it's like just having different appreciation events, to a special dinner just for the ones that had referred. So you can make it whatever you want, but those are things I would really implement. It's so much easier to get business from people that know, like, and trust you than, brand new leads that come in from the internet, especially for a listing part of it. I'm like, that's super competitive. If they're online leads, you better be really, really good, because those are hard to get, for lots of different reasons, because you don't have the sway, you're just in competition with somebody. So.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just talking to an agent too on Friday who actually is a very good caller. Like, he was in the car business. And so leads like do not bother him, like who he's calling or what he's doing. And interestingly enough, he had access to a database from another agent. And this database has like 20,000 leads in it. Okay. So he's been calling diligently for the last 6 months. And like I said, he's willing to go anywhere in the state, like 200 miles from here. Like, so he's willing to do whatever, has only converted 1 lead, and they happen to come to him 2 different ways. So not that that means don't do online leads if you're doing them. What it means is that it, like what Melissa said, it's just a name on a contact form is what it is. We think, like, he was feeling down because he's like, man, I'm just not converting anything. And this is what I do. And he showed me Follow Up Boss, like all these things. And I was like, wow, there's a few reasons, right? Maybe the leads are older. I don't know when they came in. I don't know, whatever, things like that. But the point is the relationships matter. So you can still do this, but that, I don't think that's your only mode of business, and I'm talking like they signed up on a website to see more pictures, leads like that, right? That's different. So I really love this. Melissa, would you be willing to share your slides?
Sure, yeah, sure.
Okay, awesome. You can just email them to Lovely or me, and then
Okay.
we'll post them on the Facebook group. I had a
Yeah.
couple of people actually ask for them. They are pretty and
Ah,
very informative.
Well, and the other thing I would do is social media. What you
Mm.
could do in Facebook, they changed it though. I would take, they have like the 33 text system, that Keller Williams had done, but they did it by alphabet. So it's like I would put like A and C or whatever, however they came to the conclusion of how you would make it through, once a quarter for calling them. I tagged my people that way in Facebook. That's gone away now. But the point is, go find everybody on social media and don't just like it. Be very intentional of spending 30 minutes a day of making conversation with them. That's another way. Now, I send a sympathy card if they've lost a pet. If they've got a pet, I send them, we have Hollywood Feed. I send them a gift card, that is for a pet store. So it's like if they've lost a family member, just different things that you can do, because everybody on social media tells their whole life. On Instagram, on the top left, you can follow people. So it's like, so that instead of like this endless scrolling, you could go to Instagram, find the people that you selectively want to follow in your sphere that you want to stay in touch with, and go in once a day just to see who you can comment or make some engagement with too. That's a great way to do it.
Yeah.
I'm all about the free. You have to be intentional to do it and set it in your calendar to do it. But that's another way that stops the scroll. Set a timer, whatever you need to do, so you don't start watching bunnies or whatever, but just make an intentional effort, on social media, since we've got it for free and people put their whole lives up there. And you can make a lot of great intentional relationships that way too.
Yeah, I love that. And um your social, you do a lot on social. And like you said, you didn't do that in the beginning, but you are now. If somebody kind of wanted to get started in social for real estate, what would you suggest? Like how would they get going on it consistently?
Yeah, it's just if you what I do honestly now I content batch, so I make all the videos in one setting, but you could do the same thing. Seriously, take out your phone, look at your emails, look at all the questions that people asked you. We make it so hard and it's not. So it's like all the questions that people have asked me for the past couple of weeks. I just sit there and jot it all down and just think about what I can do. And then I make the videos about them. I used to like change my clothes, now I'm like, no, I just keep on the same thing. Just don't make it hard. It's like I changed like 3 times because I was making 30 videos at a time. But I'm like, now just shoot it, make it, and send it. And again, it's just the consistency. You're providing information. And the funny thing is, I went to a listing a couple of weeks ago and she said, I saw your video where you talked about pricing this way. So it's like they're listening. And even though I don't have 1 million followers, I don't. So it's like some days you're thinking nobody's paying attention to me at all, and not that it matters, but there's so many conversations I've had with people that I never knew that were watching, social media. But she had 2 points from my social media post addressed at the listing conversation. So it's like they're paying attention. And again, it's just being consistent, whatever that looks like for you. And I don't like the way I sound every time I play something. My husband's playing it in the background. I'm like, can you just turn it off? But it's like you just have to do it. Everybody else is doing it, but that's one great way to just think about what's on your phone. Just answer the questions that you get asked all the time, or start looking at social media posts that you want to follow. I don't like to really follow people in my city because I don't want to do the comparison thing. So it's like I try to go out of that to see what are other people doing, what are questions that are being asked, and then just make it my own. So that's just me personally. It's like I don't want to do the comparison thing, which can be super hard. So that's one way, is just to kind of go out and look.
Yeah. No, I love that. I love that. Well, Melissa, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate all your information and just down to earth way to get business done. So thank you so much. We appreciate it. And just a reminder for everybody, if you want to sign up for Fast Cap, the application for January is open. So if you signed up for November, didn't get in, you have to re-sign up for January. So get in there and do that. Like right away. I want everyone to do it. I just think it's like a great program. But anyway, all right, guys, we will see you next week. Let's see. Yes, next Monday. Next week is Thanksgiving. Crazy. So, but we'll have a call on Monday and we will see you then. Thank you so much. Bye.